Proof. Yeshua, aka Jesus Christ, is mentioned verbatim in the Bhagavad Gita. Irrefutable and definitive evidence. Hello guys, this is Keys to the Truth, and in this video I am going to bring you a bombshell. I am bringing you something that has been occulted from us for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and I will give you evidence to prove it beyond any sort of argument. And if you think otherwise, please let me know in the comments. So this will be part of a book that I am actually publishing, which will be titled The Bhagavad Gita Secret Code Revealed. There is indeed a secret hidden code, occulted code within the text of the Bhagavad Gita, within the original Sanskrit itself, that has been kept from us. So I do not want to get sidetracked on the subject. Let's dive right into it. Be sure to check out my website, keystoThetruth.com, so that you can be updated whenever I release this book, sometime in the next year, possibly. It's a very, arduous work, and more than anything, it takes understanding and guidance from above, from God. So let's continue. I want to mention some of the things that are going into the decoding of these mysteries. Why you, trained scholars, pundits, and other intellectuals have a certain training, a certain set of undisclosed conscious or subconscious parameters you and I do not have. They see the things that have been taught to them, whereas you and I try to see the world as it really is. Indeed, this is one of the core tenets of Kashmir Shaivism: to not prefer this or that, to renounce or suspend our judgment of the things, people, and situations around us and just see them, to just feel them, to just perceive them. However, not through the veil of our perception and our senses, but at a much deeper level, at a transcendental and metaphysical level, one which can seldom be explained in words, to experience deeper levels of reality within the heart space by downloading such jnana, knowledge, directly from the Creator Himself, telepathically. In the Gospels, Christ Yeshua Himself also teaches us the same principles as He did in His alternate divine form of Lord Shiva, to not judge. His precise words, "Judge not, lest ye be judged yourself." This is exactly the same teaching of Kashmir Shaivism. To renounce our judgment, or more accurately, to renounce the judgment of ahamkara, the false ego we identify as ourself, which is not even ours to begin with, so that we may embrace the ultimate reality as God intends us to. By the way, this is an excerpt from the book, the upcoming book on the Bhagavad Gita. So how is it that thousands, if not millions, of seekers have not found the secret code? Very simple. They are not translating Sanskrit correctly. Now that is a bold statement, especially coming from a non-scholar, ignorant layperson such as myself. However, it is all those so-called experts whom are making certain leaps and assumptions, which I have come to realize, by the grace of God, are false. False assumptions of Sanskrit translators. Number one, Sanskrit is a human language. Number two, Sanskrit should be translated like any other language. Number three, Sanskrit is a linear language like all other languages. Number four, you have to choose one word when translating. Number five, each word has only one possible meaning. Number six, the authors and or writers of ancient Sanskrit texts were of the same level of intelligence and understanding as us. So let me elaborate on each one. Number one, Sanskrit is a sandwich language. Sorry about that. I have dyslexia, but these are the assumptions, okay? The assumptions that the scholars have been making for dozens, hundreds, if not thousands of years. Remember, this is not Satya Yuga. We're in Kali Yuga. By the very definition, it's the age of the devil itself. So why would we think that we have even a remote understanding of the truth? So the number one false assumption that's being made when interpreting or reading or translating Sanskrit is that it is a human language. First of all, there is no other language like Sanskrit. It is a fact that Sanskrit is the most complex and yet most simple language known to mankind. Records indicate Sanskrit has well over 20 billion words. That's 20 billion, not million. That's 40,000 more than the second place, 40,000 times more than the second place, which is English, with around 500,000 words. Modern languages average 50,000 words, which pale in comparison to the richness of Sanskrit. You could actually fit over 400,000 languages, unique languages, each with 50,000 words within Sanskrit itself. And these numbers are moderate. Bibik Debroy, in one of his lectures, actually states that Sanskrit could very well be infinite. I offer this and several other proofs of why Sanskrit is in fact the first language. Sanskrit is not a language that was created or molded by humans or any other beings, for that matter. It is created by the Supreme Being himself and is the holy word of God and the language of all creation. If you are curious about this particular subject, you can find more hard proofs and evidence on my website, www.keystothetruth.com. Number 2 assumption, false assumption made. Sanskrit should be translated like any other language. This, to me, in today's world, sounds like the linguistic and philological footprint of tyranny and colonialism, or more precisely that of the Asura-worshipping elites. We just don't realize the full extent of the violence and mind control that has been leveled at today's population in order to keep us dumb and ignorant. I would not be so naive as to think this corruption of the fallen Asuras has not permeated academia as well as ashrams and temples the world over. You can see how some of the English translations of the Bhagavad Gita are quite poorly done. Now, was that done in honest error and lack of skill, or maliciously and or purposefully? Both Western and non-Western authors are culpable of this if you have read any of the dozens of translations available, not just in English, but in other languages as well. Some researchers say it takes only 3 generations to change a culture. Half the social engineers played a part in the mistranslations and misinterpretations of the Bhagavad Gita performed both by seculars and people of faith, or perhaps just a tad bit, and the rest has been hidden even from those bad actors by Bhagavan himself. Why write a secret code? To keep it from falling into the enemy's hands. Why write a secret code? So the only person with the proper key can unlock it. Number 3, third assumption, false assumption. Sanskrit is a linear language like all other languages. Most languages flow in a linear fashion, from left to right, and a few from right to left or up and down. They have a single meaning per each phrase, with the exceptions of poetry, whereby a given author can convey multiple layers of meaning within a certain phrase or even a single word. Sanskrit is this poetic principle taken to the superlative. It is poetry in and of itself. It thrives on double, triple, and multiple entendres. Sanskrit does not convey one single meaning for a particular phrase. It conveys a multitude of meanings. If we see this at the word level, where each word has dozens, if not hundreds of synonyms, and each word also has dozens of meanings, then why on earth would we assume phrases in Sanskrit to be any different? I mean, is that the definition of lunacy or what? If you have certain components, each with a multiplicity of uses and applications, would you think their structured configurations did not have also multiple meanings and applications? Of course not. Number four, fourth false assumption. You have to choose one word when translating. Why? Because that applies to all of the languages. Again, here we would be assuming Sanskrit is like any other language, which it's clearly not. I have discovered, or more correctly, God has shown me, that when translating Sanskrit from ancient holy texts, we have to use all possible words and all possible meanings at the same time. Again, if it is intellect we are lacking, that is our problem, not that of the text. The text is there, immutable and unchanging. It is our understanding that has to step up to the challenge. Number 5, each word has only one possible meaning. Why? Sanskrit pushes us to understand that each word has a plethora of meanings. Choosing one single meaning for one word is akin to going into a candy store where the owner tells us to take any and all candy we desire and we walk out with one tiny piece of chocolate. By the way, chocolate comes from the Aztec Nahuatl, chocolatl, which is pronounced chocolatl, which comes from the Sanskrit chocolata, meaning salad, or that which is made from a preparation made from plants, vegetables, or fruits that come from trees. Further proof, Sanskrit predates all languages and is the father of all languages. Number 6, the authors and or writers of ancient Sanskrit texts were of the same level of intelligence and understanding as us. This is an assumption that is made out of arrogance. I, studied scholar with all these fancy university titles, am as intelligent and knowledgeable as they come. Or I, renunciant Swami, have undergone all kinds of penances and find myself in full knowledge and understanding of scriptures. These are all delusions, in my humble opinion. Delusions which ultimately and ironically blind us from the truth or Vedanta. It is mentioned throughout the Holy Scriptures that humility is one of the characteristics which God passionately loves in a devotee, more so than almost any other. Whenever we think we know, we usually don't. Only when we get on our knees and pray in full acknowledgement of our ignorance to the Lord will He lovingly grace us with His divine jnana and understanding. In my research, I have found this to be the case time and again. It is a fact the authors and or writers of the ancient holy Vedic texts were not of the same intellectual level as ourselves today. They were much more sophisticated and intelligent, with a much deeper grasp on reality and the absolute. If we approach the holy texts with arrogance and pride, they will beat us down like mosquitoes and treat us like the ignorant fools we are. It is only by surrendering to the Lord completely in acceptance of our ignorance that the holy texts will reveal their secrets. They were composed, spoken, and written down by minds much more advanced than our own. It is folly to assume otherwise. They are the well of divine jnana, where each will find what we are capable of finding. We will only be able to see the reflection of our inner selves in them. No more, no less. When we understand the authors and our writers, we're much more capable than ourselves. We come as students before teachers, and not as merchants before paper. It is just coming face to face with a real guru, a real enlightened teacher, yogi. It is just like coming face to face with a real guru or a real enlightened teacher, yogi. Are you going to stand there tall like an idiot before them and dictate to them the realities of the cosmos? Or are you going to actually sit down and listen like a child? This is the one assumption that I have noticed blocks most, if not all, researchers from discovering the divine secrets of the Bhagavad Gita. Were the writers slash authors of sacred ancient texts even trying to hide codes and secrets within the texts? Now that's arguable. Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe they were just writing as they knew how to do in their enlightenment. Perhaps we are just so utterly stunted in our minds under the thrall of Kali Yuga that we have been left like blind people, attempting to walk in the dark. Spiritual devolution. Perhaps the writers knew how utterly stranded we would be in these trying times. They hid these gems within the lines so that no imbecile, asura, worshipping censor, or book burner could deter them from reaching us far into the future. Make no mistake, I do not think the Bhagavad Gita was written by a human person. I know for a fact, and by the end of this book so will you, that this is the living word of God told by Sri Krishna himself. Due to the incredible nature of the secrets herewith revealed, it cannot be otherwise. Sri Krishna Vasudevaya Maharaj Ki Yay!
Karmanya karmayah pashyeta karmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayuktah kritsna karma krita.
Now there's two verses where Sri Krishna mentions Jesus Christ, aka Yeshua, aka Yeshua, verbatim in the Bhagavad Gita. There's two shlokas, two verses. He mentions him expressly. I had been looking for this for years, and I had never found it. Why would you, how could I not find it? I wasn't ready. God hadn't granted me that boon, hadn't granted me that wish, that blessing to find that in the scripture and share it with you. And now he's sharing that with you, which is pretty amazing. And I will do several other videos on the flip side of this, on why has it been hidden? Why nobody else has come, forward with this information? And there's a lot to that. There's a lot. It's the dark side, the evil side. So I don't want to get too sidetracked on that. We're going to focus on what the text actually says. And you can debate it all you want. Please let me know in the comments. You can join this gilded server that I have on the description and come chat with me and debate and all intellectual things that need to be addressed. But so if you struggle with information, again, let me know. We all have doubts, we all have questions, more questions than knowledge, that's for sure. So let's be honest seekers, and what we want to find out is the truth, right? And we want to find our way to God. So let's see what the text says, and then you'll begin to understand. Now, I have suspected that the words were there because a lot of the phrases, when Krishna is talking, he's talking in poetry, and he is giving you all the secrets of the universe, which I will reveal in other videos and on the book. But what he's also doing, he's talking about crystals, he's talking about the aurora, he's talking about how souls travel between worlds. It's freaking amazing, mind-blowingly amazing and detailed, because he tells you a lot of specific data points. It's he gives you things that are very specific. It's not just poetry. That's on the first level. That's the first step, but there's so many levels of understanding and meaning. Anyway, so I knew the text was alluding to Christ. I could feel it, and I could kind of make a case for it, but I didn't have the smoking gun, and this is the smoking gun. All right, so I've already had that clip where the lady is, she's an expert in Sanskrit, and she's singing this shloka, and it's so beautiful. But I'll still read it. Karman ya karma, ya pasjeda karmani, cha karmaya, sa buddhiman manush Yeshu, sa yukta kritsna karmakrit. So you see, it has the word Yeshu right here, which is Jesus Christ. Now, a lot of people argue that doesn't mean that. But look, a simple search on Google, who is Yeshu? Boom, first results, first 100 results. So, I mean, that's going to be the first argument anybody's going to say. Like, oh, it's not talking about Jesus Christ. That's not what it means. If a text says ostrich, what do you think it means? Like a big, tall bird in Africa, flightless bird, or, some kind of trademark for, silverware or whatever. Which one is more likely? Occam's razor. The one where you get hundreds of thousands of results? Who is Yeshu? What do you call Jesus in Sanskrit? It's called Yeshu. Okay? There's millions of people that know this. Yeshu Christaya, Yeshu Christirio. Okay? This doesn't come from Latin. This doesn't come from Hebrew. This predates all of that. I've shown that to you in so many of my videos. I've shown it to you where Jesus' name is mentioned in the Vedanta, in the Samaveda, in the Upanishads, is mentioned in the Shiva Sutras, in the Yoga Sutras, absolutely everywhere. Okay? How do you spell Yeshu in Devanagari? Right here. This is Ye and this is Shu. Well, sometimes they use the other S. So it's this S or the other S, okay? So Yeshu, okay? And you type it in and you put it on YouTube. And what do you get? You get results for Yeshu, for Jesus Christ. Because that's the name, okay? It's like if you spelled Kardashians. What do you mean? What do you think it's going to mean? What are you going to get in the results? Oh no, they're talking about another Kardashian who's like nobody knows. So I call BS on that, and I call this a win for Jesus, which it is, because that's what the text says. So it's right there. There's just absolutely no confusion. Okay? You can delude yourself all you want. You can believe somebody else's translations all you want, but it's a fact that this word is used, and the most common usage is for Jesus Christ. Like, hands down, millions of people, right? So if you can't see that, and if you can't get past that, well, I mean, I guess go on your way, or you can ask God for, His grace and to allow you to see Him, because you cannot know Jesus, you cannot know God in any way, shape, or form if He does not allow it. Right? And it might be that your arrogance, it might be your sin, other sin, it might be some sort of impurity within you. It might not be your time. Like, He didn't allow me to see Him in this particular text for years, until like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Right? And I was like just blown away. I was in tears telling my family. And let's look at the wording. And now you tell me, because a lot of people say, well, if you look at the wording, it's going to mean something else. Again, BS, complete BS, because all the wording tells actually the story of Jesus. So here we go. So karma, we all know what karma means: deed, work, activity. There's more meanings, but that's like the essence of it. You can look for more meanings if you want. Now here they're using a lot of sandhi. Sandhi is when you blend words together in Sanskrit. Okay, we have that in other languages as well. So manya. So karma, we have karma here. And we also have, you notice how you have karma? Okay? And you also have manya. Okay? So it's like almost a word soup, letter soup, where you can try to find as many words as you can. So manya, let's see what manya means. It means valid, worthy of honor, venerable, respected, honored. And I'm going to, when I'm editing this, I'm going to put all the research I did and all the base translations, so that you can corroborate this, and you can do that on your own time, and you can also look like, oh, let's see if Keys to the Truth is telling the truth, or if he's lying, for a change or whatever. And you can substantiate. I'm substantiating this, and you can corroborate it from your end. So manya also means venerable, respected, honored, thinking oneself to be. something, passing for middle of an animal, elephant's goat, appearing as sides of the neck, 11th lunar day, 11th Tithi. Why 11th Tithi lunar day? For example, I don't know that. I don't have the level of understanding for that. And if somebody knows a lot about astrology, could perhaps unravel that. That might be telling us something about the life of Jesus, like when he was born or when he died. So there's more secret codes than the ones I can detect. So this is not like a be-all, end-all. This is going to be like just a starting point. Again, all of my research is just a starting point where somebody else can, pick up from and continue. There's going to be numerology codes, gematria codes, and this could be an astrology code right there. Why they're alluding to that 11th lunar day. Also, it also means the associated deity for Manya. Look at this. The associated deity for Manya, according to Bhagavad Samhita, is Isa. And Isa, look at this. Who is Isa in Arabic? Look, Isa in Arabic. Meaning, boom! What did I tell you? Jesus. So he's saying Jesus, and he's saying Manya right here means Jesus, and he has Jeshu here. So if you want to attack this, interpretation, which is not an interpretation, it's a decoding of a secret message. You want to kind of attack it. You're busted because it's just Jesus here as Isa and Yeshu right here, also Jesus. So he's doubling down, to tell you, do not be stupid. I'm telling you what I'm telling you because I'm talking to you about my son. Because Krishna is the absolute. He's the Father. You can call him Krishna, you can call him Yah, or you can call him however you want to call him. The absolute. The creator of the universe, the creator of all possible universes, past, future, present, creator of everything, the Almighty. So he's talking about his son because his son's his most beloved being. Anyway, respecting one's teacher, Manya also means that. Worship of the teacher, veneration of the teacher, rent-free holding, tax-free land, tendon of trapezium muscle of the neck, bamboo of a small kind, respectable, agreeable, acceptable, approved, liked, ready, willing. You see how he's telling a story? When you choose a word to translate Sanskrit or even one or two, you're missing the point. Because these guys, they have over 20 billion words to choose from. Like billions of words to choose from, more than that. So with all the words that we've lost throughout the years. So they could choose any other number of words to mean what they want to mean, but no, they're using a particular word to keep the meter, to keep the rhyme, to keep the reason, but also to convey all these different meanings. And each particular word is telling you a story in and of itself. When he's saying willing, ready and willing, he's talking about the sacrifice that Christ made was a willful sacrifice. He was a volunteer. He volunteered. He raised his hand when, God was, looking around or asking somebody to bail humanity out, which is what he did. Jesus was there and he raised his hand. So it's a willing and ready, willing and able sacrifice. It's a self-inflicted sacrifice. And that is the worthiest kind. Acquiescent, approving, ready, admit, receive as just, true knowledge, a patron, name. Namaste, name. That's what it means, Nama. The name above all names. Having a privileged position in a relationship. Who has the most privileged position in the relationship with the Almighty? Just tell me. Who would? Not even if you talk about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, not even that, because any of you, if you have a child, you know that in pretty much all cases, you love your child more than you love your spouse. So who would have the most privileged position in a relationship with God. Just ask yourselves that. Valid, tenable, recognized, estimable, creditable, honorable, high rank, dignity, distinction, noble, illustrious, distinguished, esteemed, gift, presentation. Honorific term for addressing a man, a tributary ruler, the ruler of all kingdoms. So when he's saying karma, karmanya karma, he's not just talking about, some people say, oh, he's talking about action and inaction. Karma and akarma. Yes, he's doing that, but he's also putting in manya. And I just show you what that means. It's telling the story about Christ. And then you have more word magic. Manyaka means nape of the neck, the back of the neck. Yaka, it means who, which of many type of land, one alone. Okay, again, alluding to the one, Yaka, to the one of God, because Ya is that syllable that also means the Godhead, the Almighty. Karma is the deed, the work, and the activity. Akarma means the opposite. It would mean inaction, non-work, improper work, absence of work. Wicked or bad work, intransitive, inefficient, not working, not performing good works, sin, improper act, without work, idle, useless, intransitive, inefficient, not doing, not creating, not making. Yah is the supreme personality of God, who. It also means who, one who, he who, anyone who, which, anyone, that which, any person who, that, the person who, that, whoever, he, that is, those, who is, one which, because, I, who, such a person, whom, whatsoever. Okay? Yeah, right here. So, and then we have the next word. Pashe tada karmi. Now, some of the things here is that in the Devanagari, you can see where a word ends and another one begins. And when, in most, look for this in other translations, they will try to elude you by separating words where they're not separate, where they're clearly not separated in the Devanagari script. So I think that's rather odd, and I think that's being untruthful, because it's not like it's making it easier on you to read it. It's hard enough, right? But it doesn't help at all that they're like choosing places where, well, like just to separate words randomly, and in the original they're not separating. So I think that's quite shady on the translator sense. But anyway, let's continue. The next word is Pashe da Karmani. Pashe da Karmani. Let's see what that can teach us. Pash means sight, eye, oppress, touch, bind, to go, to touch, eat, consume, devour, feed upon, taste, enjoy. Now, if you read your Bible, if you read your Gospels, you're seeing a lot of here. So, and I'll get to it in a second. Enjoy, sport with, drink, fetter, not, tie, hinder, obstruct, strain, injure, kill, annul, annihilate, destroy. He's talking about Jesus Christ destroying sin. He's talking about Christ Yeshua destroying the devil and the control that he had and the fallen angels had before he came to make his sacrifice on earth. That's exactly what I'm seeing there. But if you have a different interpretation, please let me know. Okay? Annihilate, destroy, only see, behold, perceive, look on, try, examine, ponder, regard, consider, ask, take for, see with the spiritual eye, find out, invent, bond, rope, snare, trap who? Trap the devil. Lock, chain, mask, spectator. This is just like in the Gospel of Thomas, where, what's in the Gospel of Thomas? I'm not 100% sure. Let's check up on that. But what happened in the 3 days when Christ, was dead in the physical body, in the flesh, some people say that he went down to Hades, and, he had a little come to Jesus talk with the devil himself, and he bound him. He bound him under, of course, himself, but under also the ruler of death, who would be Yamaraja in Sanskrit, who would be Hades. He bound the devil under death, which he had not been bound to before. And then again, other things that snare, trap, lock, chain, mask, spectator, before his eyes to see a person. He went to see the spirits, remember? That's what it says in the Gospels. You can look it up. He went to talk to the spirits. He went to see the spirits. Maybe he went to liberate like the spirits of Adam, the spirit of Moses, people like that, possibly. To live, to see, experience, partake, undergo, incur, like an incursion. Learn, find out, regard, consider as, take for, compose, invent, consider, think over, examine, foresee. So many things there. Then pashu, you also have pash and you have pashu. Creature, pashu means creature, animal, beast, cattle, cows, fig tree. Fig tree is huge because, who is the fig tree? The fig tree generation. Fig tree is all Bible, guys. Fig tree is all gospel right here. There's that fig tree that wouldn't give fruit to Jesus and that he withered that tree. And there's, God also tells us that he is the vine and we're, and we are the branches and God is like the gardener. So a lot of imagery here that is the same as the imagery conveyed in the New Testament. See, an initiated person, individual soul is a pashu, a goat, a domestic animal, a sacrificial animal. Behold, animal sacrifice, flock of souls of the universe. Flock of souls, bound souls, embodied souls, emerald. For Pete's sake, man, he's talking about the sacrifice. He's talking about the sacrifice of the flesh, of the blood, to free the bound souls who were bound by our own sin and that of the fallen. Okay? The flock. Who is the shepherd? Who is the flock? You can't make this stuff up. And the colonialists didn't put this in the text. This has been in the text for ages, for thousands of years, 5,000, 7,000 years. And pasya, so there's another word there. Pasya means to view, to look, rightly understand, net, multitude of nooses or ropes, beholding, perceive, foresee, think over, insight, discernment, invent, compose, see with the spiritual eye, take for, regard, consider as, find out, learn, incur, partake, undergo, experience, live to see a person, look on, be a spectator, notice, look at, behold, examine, consider, think over, visible, observe, appearing, seeming, exclamation of wonder, admiration, trap, snare. There's a lot of, it's talking a lot about seeing here. So to me, this is like this is an actual event. It's to take away from the symbologists or the people that, just abuse symbology and they're like, everything to them is a symbol and Jesus Christ was a symbol. And this is telling you that it's clearly not just that. You can take him to be a symbol all you want and get inspiration from him. But he was like a living, breathing, flesh and soul person as well, that you could live to see a person. Yeda means see under. Eda means deer, and it means a kind of sheep. So you have sheep here, and you have sacrificial animal here, and you have the flock of souls, and you have the fig tree. So, is this not like completely, if you've read the Bible, if you're knowledgeable about the Bible, if not, go read it. I would say start with the four Gospels. I recommend start with the four Gospels, and that's the core. That's the core. And then you can read Apocalypse if you want. You can read Isaiah if you want, Genesis. There's some Daniel. There's some great books in there. But I think the core is the four Gospels. And if you're solid there, I think that's just my opinion. You're good. But so look at this. Eda, kind of sheep. Edaka is a sheep, a ewe, a ram, a goat, type of plant, type of instrument. That's it, guys. He's mentioning Christ twice, Jesus. He's mentioning Manya means Isa means Jesus, Jeshu, and Pashjeda and Eraka right here he's telling you that he's actually somebody that you could actually see. It was a sacrificial animal, and it's the fig tree. And he's also telling you that he is the sacrificial animal that is the sheep. So, and the sheep that does karma, that does the work. The work, what work? To liberate the souls, the bound souls, and to bind the devil. Unbind humanity and human souls, and bind the asuras. So you see how deep the meanings go. And if you're like a hardcore atheist, or if you're from whatever sort of belief system or religion, or if you hate Christianity, I don't know. I mean, who's watching these videos? This is a lot of stuff that you, may want to like digest and go through, because this is hardcore evidence right here, coming from a completely different tradition. You can't blame the Vatican on this. You can't blame the Jesuits. You can't blame the Catholic Church. This is coming from the deepest levels of the Hindu core. Like the Bhagavad Gita is the gospel, pretty much, of the Hindu, the Vedanta tradition. Of course, you have the Vedas. Of course, you have the Puranas. All these things, the Mahabharata. But the Bhagavad Gita is like the chai, the extract, the divine extract of divine love and knowledge that the Almighty is teaching us. And right here, he's telling us the story of his son, Jesus Christ. So this to me is just completely mind-blowing. Dakar, just like that city, is the letter D. Water also means a type of plant. To belch, to eructate, to appropriate another's due and not let out any sign of it. To quietly assimilate another's due. To appropriate and assimilate another's due. To pay for somebody else. To pay for somebody else's sin. He's saying it right there. There's like, are you still debating this? He's the sacrificial sheep that's paying somebody else's due. That's verbatim what Christ did. So Pasjera Karmani is the sacrificial fig tree / lamb that pays the due and that does the action, that does the work and pays the due of somebody else. It's right there. You can corroborate all these translations, man. I see. There's people that debate me on this, but I see like there's just no coming back from this, because it's just so in your face, and every single word is corroborating it. And so we have Yeshu right here. We have Isa, Manya, that means Isa. That's 2 times. And then, but you have to find the context. The whole context is talking about the story of Jesus. Okay? Do not be deluded by these fake translations and false teachers. Like, I'm not a teacher. I'm just some dumb dude off the street. Karmani, connected with, being in action, type of plant, agreeing with, or indicating the object. Brilliant, precious variety of corundum, of beautiful blue, valued as a precious stone, sapphire, small glass bead, devoted or sincere worker. There's more quotes here that we can now understand, but for example, he's talking a lot about the blue and the precious stone and sapphire. So I would wonder if he had blue eyes. That's the one thing that jumps at me. Like, there's something in here that I do not understand. Maybe somebody else can understand in the future. Maybe you understand it. Let me know in the comments. But he's talking about blue and sapphire and precious sapphire crystals and a small glass bead. So what's a small glass bead like? It looks like an eye, right? So maybe he's talking about like he had blue eyes. Maybe. I don't know. Like, does somebody know? I think one of the texts from Ethiopia talked about the physical appearance of Christ, didn't it? What was it that Kebra Nagast? I haven't read it, so I need to read it. Cha means end, but it also means Shiva, tortoise, thief, moon, moreover, both, as well as seedless, pure, being to and fro, mischievous, clean, trembling, unsteady, part, fragment, cutting, dividing, covering, concealing, infant, child, Mercury, number 7, house, heat, consumed, young animal. So there's a lot here. When he's using cha, he's not just meaning and or also. He's also talking about the moon. He's talking about the seedless one. Who would be seedless? The one that wasn't impregnated, because there was no seed. You see? There was no seed because he was born from a virgin mother. And he's an infant that was concealed. Concealed from who? From the Asuras. They would have killed him immediately. They tried to kill him. A child. And Mercury, he's talking about, the arrangements of the stars. So again, the number 7 house. But he's also talking about astrological house. So there's more codes here, guys, for somebody that's smarter than myself to unravel. Karma, again, he's talking about deed, work, activity. Yah is the supreme personality of God. Who, one who, he who, anyone who, etc. I've translated that. Sa means he. Also means patience, meditation, knowledge, fence, endurance, embryo right there. Carriage, road, wind, term, the term of an embryo, the teacher, sleep, rests, remainder, paradise, nipple, learned man, heaven, final emancipation, eternal happiness, end, destruction, bird, air, similarity, possession, quality, conjunction, wise, procuring, learned, excellent, bestowing, best, granting, giving, bestowing, a name of Lakshmi, name of God, number 5, number 6, a musical note. So there's a lot of numerology in here. And why? Because numbers are a vector of consciousness. And in other parts of the Bhagavad Gita, God goes into that more in detail and like how he creates the universe. And it's mind-blowing. And musical note, there was something about music here just a second ago, wasn't there? Type of instrument. So he says sheep and he said you, but he also refers to himself as a type of instrument, or he refers to his son more correctly as a type of instrument, and a musical note. So there's a lot of music, and there's an intricate and intimate relationship between numbers and our reality and cymatics and music. So that's how the universe is created, and like it says that in a lot of the other passages here in the Bhagavad Gita. Let's go to the next word. It's so where are we so far? Here? It's karmanya karma, ya pashyata karmani, cha karma ya sa. Halfway there. And then he says, buddhi man manush jeshu sayukta kritsna makrit. Kritsna ka karmakrit. Okay? Excuse the broken Sanskrit. Again, sorry. So, buddhi man manush jeshu. Buddhi, what does buddhi mean? Buddhi is intellect, wit, or intelligence. It is bud and di united. Di means thought, intelligence, receptacle, splendor, taking forward, design, disposition, prayer, devotion, meditation, religious thought, understanding, wisdom, science, art, mind, knowledge, intention, notion, opinion, reflection, mental attitude. But he doesn't just say buddhi, he says buddhiman. So diman also means intelligent, sensible, wise, learned, and it's a term used for a bodhisattva, who is a realized being, who is a perfected being, somebody that's enlightened and very close to God. So he's saying he's buddhi, but he's also buddhiman, okay? So when you talk about buddhiman, if it were just to say, for example, buddhiman Yeshu, if it were to say buddhiman Yeshu, he would be talking about like enlightened Yeshu, okay? But he's saying more than that. Okay? He's saying buddhiman manush Yeshu. So iman means this, okay? Man, like man, a lot of people don't get this word, man. It's important. It means wisdom, understanding, thought, prayer, petition, intellect, expression of thought, hymn, again with the music analogies. Love, the God of love, confidential whisper. Who is the God of love? Love. What were Jesus' commandments? What were his main commandments? Let's write it here. What did Jesus command us to do? Well, he repeats some of the commandments, but the three main ones is to love. Greatest command. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. And the second is, like unto you, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Love, love, love. Who would be the God of love if not Jesus Christ? It's right there. He's telling the story, like, with like details, precise details. Ma means mind, of me, first person possessive. It means so many other things as well. You can look them up. Like, I'm not stopping you. Go ahead. Manu. So a lot of people get hung up because they think this is talking about a devotee, like just any regular devotee, like yourself or myself. Okay, this is just talking about a devotee. It's not just talking about any devotee. It's talking about a particular one, the most beloved one, the one that's an enlightened being. I'm not an enlightened being, and nor do I claim to be. So he's talking about bodhisattva. He's not talking about just any devotee. He's talking about Jesus. He's talking about the hymn of love, the God of love, the musical instrument of love. And then Manu means human. Yes, that's where the word human comes from. Type of plant, thought, and I'll tell you what Manu means. It also means a thinking creature, because that's what humans are. Thinking, spell, sacred text, prayer, mental powers, mankind. Manu comes from two words, look, because this is so important. It's Ma and Anu are united. They get united by Sandhi. So Ma means mind, and Anu is a small particle. It's a minute particle. So when God says Manu, He's telling us that we are indeed small particles of Him, His small particles. So our souls are tiny fragment, like tiny portions of God, if you will. So Manu is also thinking, a spell, sacred text, prayer, mental powers, mankind, a man, intelligent, incantation, wise, physical human being, also a name of God, universal ruler, lawgiver, progenitor, form of Dharma, 72 yugas, again with the numerology. Name of an ancient teacher, mantra, the number 14, Lord of all the creatures. Who would be Lord of all the creatures? The very first man, again, Adi Yogi, Adi Devi, Shiva, epoch, age, proper season, sage, wise, representative man, father of the human race, him, the man par excellence, to shine well, to look dazzling, allow concession in the payment of a tax. Look at that one. Allow concession in the payment of a tax. The same story. He's paying for our sins. He's paying for something that he didn't owe, that we owe, but we ain't got the bank balance to pay it. Like there's never in a million years could you pay for like all your bad karma. Like you would never be able to do that. All your bad thoughts, all your bad feelings, all the words that you say wrong. I mean, these are all in a divine, perfect universe, these are all sins against God, because you have free will and you're not choosing, the Almighty. You're choosing all these petty, stupid things that lead to death. So allowing the concession of a payment that you owe, that I owe, and He's the one paying it. He's the one footing the bill. To be cured, to be healed, bring under control, subdue, subjugate. Again, this is talking about subduing sin, subduing the asuras, the fallen angels, the devil, and to cure and to heal us, our souls, and also the people that He cured and healed in physical form. Anu, oh, here, look, this is Anu, where I told you. Repeatedly, along with type of plant. Next, why Anu? Because here it says Manu, but it also says Anu. Type of plant. Next, then further again, thereupon in regard to, agreeable to, in order, at, towards, to, through. This, a lot of plant kingdom stuff is very deep, and this is not something we should overlook, because He refers to Himself as a tree a lot of the times, a fig tree, and we know about the tree of life. So the separation between animal and plant kingdom is a fake separation. used to delude us further. Agreeable to, in order, add, towards, to, through, over, one after another, methodically, orderly, each by each, severally, according to, subordinate to, under, near to, lengthwise, alongside, non-Aryan man. That's important. Single verse mantra, sacred text, sea salt. Remember, sea salt is where the sun comes from. Sea salt generates the sun generates oxygen, and the cycle repeats itself. Oxygen goes back into the sea. Life soul minutely. Fourth part of matra, particle of time, minute, fine, as a consequence of the side of afterwards, after a long following. So very, very interesting things. A minute particle, manu, anu, just like Anunnaki. And it's also Sanskrit. That's not Babylonian, it's Sanskrit. So very, very interesting sacred text and Jeshu. Okay, so Sa, I've told you what it means. And then Yukta. So where are we? We're almost done. Look at this. You can come back to this video and watch it at your own pace. You can watch it slower or faster, or whatever you mean. Sa Yukta Kritsna Nakar Kritsnakar Makrat. Okay, so Yukta. Yukta means it's juxta. It's the same, it's the word in English, juxta. English is all Sanskrit. Okay, so Yuxta is Yukta. It means joined, united, sensible, justice, suitable, right, appropriate, auspicious, proper, furnished, endowed, filled, supplied, provided with, clerk, civil servant, official, officer, propriety, suitableness, fitness, connection, conjunction, joke, team, primitive, faring, acting, thriving, prosperous, favorable, becoming to, suitable for, due, just, proved, established, fit, making use of, conforming to, adopted, fitted, depend on, subject to, concerning, connected with, possessed of, following in regular succession, combination, clever, skillful, attentive. A lot of the words I've noticed in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna uses mean possession. And he's not just talking about demonic possession, which sometimes he is, but he's also talking about like, which spirit do allow you to possess? Are you allowing the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God, to possess you, or a spirit of evil? Or so that's there. United, familiar with, experiencing, clever, skillful, attentive, concentrating, engaged, employed, manual, yoked, joined, fastened, attached, harnessed, connected, provided. Very interesting. And then we have Kritsna Karmakrit. Krit means cut, to cut, mention, celebrate, accomplisher, doer, maker, performer, manufacturer, composer. Who's the maker, right? Who's your maker? Who's my maker? Maker of the world, maker of everything, composer. Again with the musical stuff, okay? Because this is a world of magic. It's also a world of music. Cut off, divide, tear asunder, cut into pieces, destroy, spin around, encompass, attire, repeat, utter, tell, recite the word, recite what? The word of God. Communicate, declare, name, call, praise, glorify, commemorate. Commemorate. What do you commemorate? A memorable event. What's a memorable event? The coming of Jesus. Renowned, notorious, bought, purchased, author, acting, manufacturing, affecting, accomplishing, performing, doing, making. Sna or shna means to bathe, to purify, okay? To purify with water. This is sna. It's not shna. Sna. In the Sanskrit, in the Devanagari. So, to bathe, to purify using water, to baptize, to cleanse using water, bathing, immersed in water, ablution with water. Using water to purify, it's not necessarily a Christian thing. It's used by people in the Vedic tradition. It's been used for ages. So Kritsna and Krishna they both mean the same, pretty much the same thing, to baptize, purify using water. You can check out my video on what the detailed definition of Krishna is. Naka, this is very important. Naka means the vault of heaven. It also means tin, sun. It means the firmament, sky, painless, alligator, fingernail, claw, region of the gods, atmosphere. So he's talking about heaven. He's talking about the firmament. Okay, the waters above, the waters below. Our karma is I've already told you, inaction, not doing, not making. Krit, the same thing. Sna, karma, akrit. Okay? Akrit means the opposite of krit. Not made, not performed, not done, not created. Sharer in the privileges of a son. Sharer in the privileges of a son. Good God Almighty. I mean, what more do you want? What do you want a picture of him in here? What do you want? Like, if this is not hard proof, like scriptural proof, then I don't know what is. Like, if you can't see past this, if you cannot see with this, I think you're done. Ask God for grace. If you can see with this, then blessed be you. You know, blessings upon you. Undone, unprepared, uncreated, not committed, not established, food without seasoning, uncreated. Okay, who's uncreated? There's only one uncreated being. That is the Almighty. But he's also talking about his son as being uncreated. And he's sharing in the privileges of a son. Unexecuted, undone, evil, extravagant, unduly, for nothing, wrongly done. Unripe, immature, ranged near, to brought near, undone, nullified. He null and voided all that had bound us to this earth and to the devil and to the fallen angels. That's what he did. That we had wrongly committed, right? So this is a brief summary of what we've covered in this shloka, in this verse so far. But I couldn't summarize it further because there's just so much in here. In these few words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 words, God's saying what I've told you pretty much in the length of an hour, using hundreds of words. So that's the depth of these texts, right? So if you want some sort of, summary, it would be action, work, activity, honorable, Isa, Jesus, teacher, privileged, position, noble. Who alone performs action, work, and inaction, rest, and activity? God, he who foresee, behold, undergo, experience, live to see a person, admiration, wonder, trap, snare. This is talking about in future tense. So you see how the Bible talks in past tense and future tense? And then it talks about future things that are past. So they're using the same kind of thing here, where they're using something that's going to happen, but then for us it's already happened. See under, sheep, you, instrument, to pay another's due, being in action, sapphire, blue crystal, devoted, sincere, and Shiva, pure, child, 7, action, work, activity, God, he who, he, patience, meditation, knowledge, teacher, paradise, heaven, final emancipation, eternal happiness, wise, excellent, 5, 6, musical note, God, intellect, thought, receptacle, prayer, receptacle, again, a vessel of what? A vessel of possession of who? Of the Holy Spirit, prayer, devotion, meditation, understanding, wisdom, art, mind, intention, wise, body, sattva, this, wisdom, prayer, thought, understanding, intellect, hymn, love, God of love, confidential, whisper, mind, ruler, lawgiver, progenitor, teacher. So he uses the word mind a lot in the possessive because it's his God of love, it's his son, it's his hymn of love, it's his understanding. So you see how Krishna is speaking with a lot of love, like it's exuding in the text. Ruler, lawgiver, progenitor, teacher, mantra, 14, Lord of. That's why he says you can only come to the Father through me. Like if you have a child and you delegate something to that child, and it's somebody, this is that person, that child, you're gonna be like one pissed off parent. Like one pissed off, like you're gonna be like, hey, you're coming to me. No, go back to my son. And you deal with him, and you treat him right. And if you don't, well, you'll have hell to pay, because he's already trying to pay for you, you dummy. That's what he's doing, and you're not having it, so I'm not having you. So the Father, he cares, but in a way he could care less. On the flip side, Christ Yeshua, he's more of the embodiment of the love of God. He is the flesh and blood love of God. That's what he is. He is the avatar of the love of God. Lord of all creatures, the first man, sage, epoch, father of the human race, him, Man par excellence. And this is not a Hebrew tradition. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is not sectarian or a cultural thing. This is a universal thing. This is a transcendental thing. That's why it's in all these ancient texts. Man par excellence, shine, dazzle, allow, concession and payment of tax, cured, healed, bring under control, subdue, along with, towards, through, near, to, sacred text, sea, salt, life, soul, minute particle, methodically, orderly, following along, physical, human being, thinking creature, spell, sacred text, prayer, mental powers, mankind, incantation, universal, Jesus Christ Yeshua, He, patience, meditation, knowledge, teacher, paradise, heaven, final emancipation, eternal happiness, wise, accent, 5-6, musical note, God of intellect, union, joined, auspicious, endowed, servant, connection, just, proof, fit, engaged, celebrate, accomplisher, doer, maker, composer, declare, name, praise, glorify, author, destroy, baptize, firmament, heaven, action, activity, work, inactivity, rest, celebrate, accomplisher, doer, maker, composer, declare, name, praise, glorify, author, destroy, praise to be the Most High. So this is the end of part 1. I will tell you about the second time he mentioned him in another chapter in part 2. Thank you. Blessings to you. Praised be the Almighty and His Son, Yeshua, Jesus Christ.